Hello, welcome to another Gundam Operation 2 video. That is the new suit, the Dolmel, and I got a match here for you, actually two matches. This first match is going to be on Colony Drop, and the second match is going to be in space, dark space. And they're going to be kind of wildly different matches, honestly. The first match, I'm kind of just bullshitting around where I'm just charging towards people and just trying to hit them as much as possible. Which is very unfortunate because I think I kind of screwed myself over a few times there, but not smart gameplay, right? The second match, I'm actually going to be working a little bit more with the team. Very precise in how I'm using some of my weapons. And I say precise, you know, I fuck up a lot of my weapon switching, so and yeah, this is the Dolmel from a fighting game back in the 90s. I believe it was called EX or X Revu, which this was I believe the final boss. And just like every other cabinet back then, you know, arcade cabinet, it was just made to eat your quarters. So it was bullshit. I watched some gameplay videos. It looked annoying as hell. I'd rather just save my brain cells and just play some other fighting game, right? But and then get bullshit out of my money there. But the Dolmel, it's really weird because they say the Dolmel's from Katana, but it's not. Or it's funny because the design of this Dolmel I don't believe is even from Katana either. I believe this design is from the game as well, or at least from the line art that Kunio, you know, the guy who does the designs for Gundam originally did. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right to the stats now. This suit it's a 450 raid. You have 19,000 health with 14 ballistic and 14 beam resistance. You have 20 melee resistance, 7 range strength, 38 melee strength, 135 movement speed with 210 boost speed, 70 thruster gauge, and 75 turning speed. And for slots, you have 17 close, 9 mid, and 6 long range slots. First thing that jumps out to me is obviously, well, you have 7 range strength, so you're definitely not going to be made for doing range damage, which, you know, goes along with having 6 long range slots. But you also have 14 ballistic and beam resistance, and for me that feels kind of low, especially since this suit doesn't have a dodge roll. So it can feel kind of flumpy at times, where, especially regarding a lot of the 450 generals at this cost, they will fuck this thing up if they catch it. Just, you know, it's either just not boosting, or maybe latency kind of fucked the Dolmel over, and maybe he got stunned mid boost. So his either his offense mode or whatever else that helps him, his maneuver armor, they just didn't help out, right? So that's happened to me a few times. It's very annoying, but yeah, I kind of feel like they need to buff that up a little bit, but I'll get that near the end. But yeah, everything else here, 38 melee strength, pretty. Even though it seems kind of trust me, it's pretty high. I think even in these two matches, I'm using a melee resistance build and not a melee strength build, just to help me survive a little bit more in close range engagements. And yeah, honestly, 38 melee strength, if you're using some certain weapons, it will do just fine. Again, but believe me. But you can do a whole melee build if you want to, like just all melee, or maybe even some thruster gauge to help out, because the suit does have some stuff that will help out if you're using thruster gauge. And yeah, I believe if you want to do a defense build for your ballistic and beam resistance, I believe you can only put like level 2 parts on, so that'll get you to around like 20 resistance, which would equal to your melee resistance. So not too much. But yeah, now we're on to the weapons here. Starting off with your primary weapons, you have the Dolmel beam gun, which is 1,800 damage with 80% heat rate and 300 range. This is basically just your stunning weapon. Your stun weapon. It's an instant stun. It's very basic. If you wait for the cooldown to come back and you can fire your weapon again, you will overheat it, so you have to wait a little bit before you can fire it again. But yeah, again, it just provides a very basic stunning. Stunning? Yeah, very basic stunning. So you shoot somebody, you hit, and then you get. So yeah, simple as that. Next weapon here is your primary melee weapon. You have the Dolmel Beam Saber, which is 1,900 damage. And right off the bat, I just gotta say, every melee weapon this suit has, maybe except for the double Beam Sabers, yeah, they have sick as fuck animations. Really cool looking. The neutral swing on this suit, you do like some kind of far slash. It is really easy to counter. Actually, a lot of the melee on this suit is really easy to counter, so be careful about that. But yeah, you do that. It does hit pretty far. I say pretty far, not like beam spear far, but you know what I mean. And the downswing does hit far. The downswing is again sick as fuck. Really, really cool. Where you do a quick slash, it's really fast, and then you do a sliding kick. You do a bison sliding kick, and you have apparently this suit has beam sabers in its feet. You know, it has beam toes, and yeah, you slide forward and you can hit somebody with that. Now the initial damage for each hit, since it's a two-parter, it is pretty low, so you have to hit both to get decent damage out of it. But yeah, you can catch people off guard, or you can slide into somebody that's like downswinging your teammate from behind, you know, in front of you or something. Really, really, really useful, and again, really cool looking. Now, I wish it kind of did a little, you know, went out a little bit farther in space, or maybe a little bit faster, but it still looks really cool. So you have some slight utility with this downswing, so that's pretty good. Maybe even use it for, I'm not sure if you can use it for movement, you know. I think it still might be too slow. Maybe if you want to save some thruster gauge, maybe if that works like that. But yeah, pretty cool. Now we're on to the secondary weapons. You have the chest missile pod ×2, which is 250 damage, 10 rounds, 250 range, and this will be a stun accumulation weapon. You fire one missile at a time. You can move while firing this. You can't boost though. And it will stun in 5 hits, so it'll take half your ammo. Not the best, but you know, it can get the job done if you're hitting your shots off. And yeah, just a stun accumulation. You can follow up with your melee, or maybe go into a stun lock with your beam gun. So yeah, fair enough. Next secondary weapon here is the heat pile. Oh yeah, this is 1,000 damage, and again, keeping in line with the sick animations, you have a shoulder chart, a shoulder bashing animation, right? And not only that, it's directional. So if you go left, you'll hit left with your shoulder, or your left shoulder. You know, if you do right, you'll hit with the right shoulder. If you do neutral, you'll bash forward. You won't do won't do anything thrusting wise, right? You'll just hit your shoulder forward. They hit twice, by the way, so it'll multi-hit. In case for some reason it works really well for melee priority, where if somebody goes through me because of latency, they'll get hit anyway. But yeah, and the downswing is the typical Xeon blow, where it's like that shoulder tackle. But instead of doing one hit, it's like the axe drill, where it'll multi-hit. Now, I believe this is a reference to how it's shoulder tackle special in the game it came from, you know, the fighting game, because that multi-hits and does a lot of damage. But yeah, this not only that, it will hit completely. If you're on the ground, you will get hit by it no matter what, unless you're like elevated, I believe, but or below elevation. But yeah, it does a lot of damage. I'm talking like heavy attack damage against supports, and even decent chunk against generals as well. Now, I heard from this is speculation, maybe it is true, but I heard it actually goes through shields. If that's true, that's gross. Yeah, that's really gross. Oh, I didn't mention either is that if you decide to do your standing attacks, well, first of all, you have a really fast ready up. So if you do a beam saber straight, you can do beam saber, then go right into your shoulder tackle. Yeah, that heavy staggers, by the way. So you have a similar kind of melee situation as you do with the something like the Gallus J, except the Gallus J couldn't turn its hands around, you know, direction-wise to hit somebody. Whatever you did when you're standing with that, unless you're doing the downswing, you just do that one little chop motion, right? Jab forward. Yeah, this suit actually can direct where it wants that heavy stagger to be. And yeah, again, it's very fast, quick to hit, hits twice, will heavy stagger. You can use that to follow up on your other melee weapons. It's a really gross tool. And I think for me, the shining weapon in this kit, that is so useful. Again, you have a lot of versatility with that, where you can initiate heavy stagger combos, you know, leave them there for your teammates, or maybe just keep them in place to do standing combos. Or again, if it's a support, you can just, you know, get a free 10k on them. So This thing also has interrupt tackles. You can tackle them afterwards in case they're really low in health. So, yeah, really gross. Next weapon here is the Dolmel Beam Saber times 2, which is 2,200 damage. I also mentioned the heat pile. You cannot melee that more than once. You can only do that once. It does have a long cooldown time, so be careful with that. Alright, now back to the double beam saber. Yeah, that is 2,200 damage. The neutral swing is actually the exact same as the single saber neutral swing. And the downswing, I believe, is the Axaku's. But it feels very, very precise compared to the Axaku's. I don't know, maybe I haven't played the Axaku Commander. There we go, the raid. Maybe I haven't played the Axaku Commander in a while, but it does feel very precise on this suit where... if you guys haven't seen the testing video, you can be like right next to a certain height of a suit and it'll just whiff, it'll miss. You have to be like right on the dot, right? Bigger suits, I think it will hit, but yeah, just be careful when you're using that downswing. But otherwise, yeah, you'll get some good damage out of it. And these side swings are actually multi-hit, so you can do a typical kind of side swing combo on somebody. Like, you know, you can do your, but like I said before, you can do stun with your beam gun, go straight into one beam saber slash, go into your heavy stagger, and then pull out your double beam sabers and go side swing, back to your, maybe go back to your single beam saber for that sick downswing, right? And I think your heat pile will be rated up again. You can do your downswing. So yeah, that's actually really gross damage output if you're allowed to do that. We'll get to that, but yeah, pretty nice. You got that. Yeah, that's your third melee weapon technically. Now we're on to your next and final weapon, the Dolmel Beam Gun Discharge, which is 200 damage, 16% heat rate, and 300 range. This is a rapid fire. You can move while using this. You can't boost while you're using it. Very rapid fire. It has very poor stun accumulation, though. In fact, you can overheat this and not get a stun. I guess they want you to use your missiles with it. But honestly, the way I use it is I use it between stuns if I'm not close enough for melee or to try and poke at people or maybe finish off low health enemies. Again, rapid fire, very fast, and the ASL, it's very accurate, honestly. Surprisingly accurate. You just have to be careful. If you're trying to get a stun with just that alone, it's not going to work, so just be careful. I do wish it had a little bit better stun accumulation, but yeah, now we're on to the skills. You have Shock Absorber level 3, you have Blast Stabilizer, you have Balancers, and back level 2, you have Assault Booster level 2, Maneuver Armor level 2, so you can absorb instant stuns. I believe you take less damage as well when you're boosting. You do have Force Injectors level 2, so less thruster gauge when you're boosting. You have Offense System, so your melee attacks, and if you guys haven't noticed, the melee attacks are pretty long on this suit. You can absorb instant stuns while you're doing your melee attacks. Pretty cool on your single beam saber, so you can literally kick through projectiles to hit somebody, right? Really sick, actually. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You have melee combo controller level 2. Your melee weapons will have 3 melee swings each, except for the heat pile. That is only 1 swing. So yeah, you can pretty much, I think you can actually infinite people with just your other beam sabers, right? Just your beam sabers. You have Power Accelerator level 2, so when you clash or bounce with an enemy, you can instantly just boost out of that and just start wailing on them again. Really valuable against other raids, and maybe if there's a general with 3 melee priority as well. It's something I don't see a lot of other Domels use. I guess they're not familiar with Power Accelerator. I mean, honestly, sometimes clashes just never show up for people whenever they do melee, or even bounces sometimes, right? So just do keep in mind, if you're in that situation, you can boost out of that and just start going crazy with your melee. I should mention, though, you can only boost out of that clash whenever you're backing off of the clash, I believe. Whenever you're bouncing off that clash. Now to continue, you have interrupt tackle, so if you're doing your melee attacks, you can boost afterwards. Like if you're doing the single baby, what the fuck? Single beam saber downswing. You can tackle when you're doing the kick. You don't have to wait until you're out of your animation. You can tackle during your animation. The double beam saber downswing you can tackle into, and the downswing for for the heat pile, you can tackle right after, which just add on even more gross damage, right? And to help with that, you also have thruster precision, so you have a double tackle. So if you do a tackle at full, like if you haven't used any of your thruster gauge, you'll have a little bit left to either do another boost or another tackle. So you got a double tackle. You can use that for even baiting people out, right? To hit you, to melee you. And you do have enhanced tackle level 4, so your tackles will just do more damage in general. And you do have leg buffers and back binder cushioning level 2. And yeah, that's all she wrote for the Dolmel, except actually now we got to get into the pros and cons. I'm going to start off with the cons now. First of all, for the cons, I feel like the resistances, I think they need to be a little bit higher on this suit. To coincide with this, it does have no dodge roll, and you are fighting really hefty generals at this cost, like the Jetta or the Gym Power 3. Those suits have been around for a hot minute. The people that use them, they know how to use them. They will kill you very fast if you're not careful. Or, you know, even if latency is fucking you over, yeah, you'll get dealt a heavy blow to you. You can buff up your melee resistance, which is nice, but yeah, you can still just... the suit feels like it can die pretty fast, even though you do have some buffers on it. So I kind of wish they'd buff up the resistances just a little bit, or maybe increase the buffers, but honestly, I think that's all I'll do for that, right? In terms of the downsides for the suit to buff, right? I already mentioned that you can't dodge roll, so just be careful. You also have a really poor stun accumulation. Now, the missile pods, you know, it takes 5 to get a stun out of the 10. If you miss one, well, you're not going to be able to get a second stun if you get that initial one, right? The discharge beam gun just sucks in stun accumulation. So, if you're trying to get a stun against something like the, I guess something like the Zoc, even though technically it can be really easy with the missile pod, if you're just going to do it with the discharge beam gun, it's not going to work. You have to do some other stuff, right? So your stun accumulation is pretty poor, unfortunately, which I think they could buff up some of the stun accumulation to kind of make that a lot better for this suit to initiate, but I'll talk about that a little bit here in a second. Honestly, that's it for like super major cons I have with this. I think it needs a little bit more resistances, and the stun accumulation is pretty bad on this. I don't think I want to say I'd buff it up, right? Again, I'll talk that here in a second. Now, the pros, though. Oh, I should also say for cons, you also have low range strength, but honestly, you make up for that with everything else you have. So yeah, for pros, you have insane damage potential with your melee. You have really great melee combos. You can do a gross amount of damage with this. The potential is really high on this suit. If you want to support dead, you probably will kill the support very fast. If they stick around too long near you, you can even do a lot of damage to generals. Again, it's a very versatile in combos, especially with that heavy stagger. The heat pile is the shining weapon in this mobile suit. You know, the mobile suit's kit. You can initiate heavy stagger combos, or just, again, go for that damage output where you can just do the downswing and just get a bunch out of it, right? Bunch of damage. Really good. Another good thing about this under pro is that you do have some really good skills. However, some of them are pretty reliant on latency, so if you're not very good, if you don't have latency on your side, you might be a little bit in trouble. But you do have, you know, offense system, maneuver armor. You have power accelerator, you know, interrupt tackle. You have a double tackle with enhanced power as well. So you do have some good skill. You have 3 melee. You do have 3 melee priority, but you do have 3 melee swings. You know, so everything that's there to help you out in melee, you can be really just a monster in melee, right? So yeah, I think that's really good for this suit. What else? I think that might be it for the Dolmel, unless, you know, I want to say something like it has really awesome melee animations, but obviously that's not really like an actual pro for this, right? You know what, now it is, but But yeah, that'll be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you want. I'd really appreciate it. And type up in the comment section how you feel about the Dolmel. Do you like it? Do you hate it? And I'm gonna be honest with you. I really enjoy this suit. I think it's really fun. Well, at least the way it is, right? I think it's really fun. But I think it can also be a huge pain to play. I feel like you do need some teammates to kind of help make the suit better or more threatening, because like I said, there's a lot of generals that you'll be competing against that will just murk you. You also have other raids that might be just consistently better. You have stuff like the Nero Trainer or the Silver Haze Kai, where like, okay, it's cool. Like you can do the downswing with your shoulder tackle, right? And you get 10k. But technically, the Silver Haze can do that with the Trident when it does a beam, when it uses its regular beam saber to get a downswing on a support, and then just do, because it has that one skill where it gets more damage when an opponent's on the floor. It's using its melee. So you just do the downswing with the Trident, and yeah, you get a bunch of damage output that way. So you already have a suit that kind of has that, and also has really good stun accumulation. So you have to compete with that suit. So, and honestly, fighting as much Dolmel as I have today, or I guess technically Thursday, since this video is going to be posted on Friday, I hardly seen any break the 100k damage threshold. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some that have, and if you're a really good raid player, you can potentially do it easier than other players, right? But compared to other suits I've seen, like, again, to mention the Silver Haze Kai, or the Nero Trainer, I see that those people are getting so much damage output just more casually. I've been seeing, right? They're more consistent. They have other skills like dodge rolls or whatnot. For me, I can foresee this suit getting getting buffed, honestly. Now, I don't think it needs like a big fat damage buff or anything, right? I think the damage is actually just fine on this suit. I think it just needs a little bit more defense-wise. I think I'd be fine with it. Or if they're not going to buff the defense, then I think maybe just some better stun accumulation. I feel like I'm going to see this not very soon, but at least I want to see this on the dev blog. The unit adjustments whenever I do a buff or scuff. It's going to say something along the lines of this suit will get destroyed before it reaches its target. Talking about how it will die before it gets to do its melee, right? Because that's happened to all the other melee-oriented raids, like the Red Rider and whatnot, where they had that same thing written out about them, where they couldn't reach a target in time before they'd die, or at least be critically wounded, right? So, yeah, I do think this thing needs a little bit better defense-wise. Maybe give it some more part slots to kind of help out with that. And I think I'd just be fine with the suit, honestly. Because, again, I can see the appeal to this. It just needs a little bit more, in my opinion. But, yeah, if you're a raid player that loves playing suits like the Striker Custom or the Ifrit Custom, or was it the Ifrit Kai, one of those, and this suit's probably right up your alley. It doesn't have a lifeline, unfortunately. Like, you can't pull out a Hades mode or anything, like a Demon Blade. So you kind of have to rely on just getting good. So you have to get good. Otherwise, you probably really enjoy this suit. And even me not being a raid player, it is really fun to play when you get the ball rolling with it, where it's just really cool. It's a really cool suit. Honestly, I kind of wish Bandai made a model kit on this. I think it's a really cool design-wise. And I'm not going to play the game, though. So I'm not going to play the game it came from. It looks like bullshit. I can probably download the characters on Mugen or whatever. If you guys ever heard of Mugen. And I guess have him fight the fucking the mobile suits from Gundam Battle Assault, right? That'd be actually kind of cool. I gotta do that. I gotta really download Mugen, though. But yeah, that'll be it, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.